Good morning, Aseans. Freshen up your world, your thought, your idea with us every day from Monday to Friday. I'm here with you, Nirasha Malisak-Lamia.
And I'm Weena Dongprasit, and we're following closely on the politics of Thailand, Nirasha, as it might be a turning point today whether the red shirts would hold a mass rally today with about an expected 100,000 protesters to oust the three constitutional court judges, or whether they would opt to disperse the protests and later seek the judges' impeachment. Bangkok Governor Sukhumpan Boripat has instructed municipal police to tighten security at government compounds and landmarks in Bangkok, and Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra said she was concerned and had assigned her deputy Chalerm Yubamrung to take charge. But the National Police Chief and National Security Agency said the imposition of the Internal Security Act, or ISA, to cope with possible violence was not necessary, and there was nothing to worry about. A police spokesman said the red shirt rally conditions did not meet the criteria for the ISA to be imposed. It showed no sign of being a threat to national security or of prolonged violence. Now there was about 500, and there was likely to be less than 100,000 joining, and they would disperse. The red shirts have accused the court judges of doing their duty beyond the scope of the charter.
Still staying in Thailand, some business operators in Thailand could rise their product prices in the current quarter, given higher fuel costs and wages, while an expected increase in foreign orders points to an export recovery. This report is according to a recent survey by the Bank of Thailand. The central bank said the 3-month confidence index for product selling prices stays above 50, reflecting the likelihood that operators will raise their prices following increases in the prices of raw materials and fuel, as well as in wages. BOT said many operators plan to raise their products' prices gradually over the course of the year. The survey found the property sector may boost prices after higher costs of land and construction materials and taking into account demand and purchasing power. However, some businesses such as processed food exporters and transport providers may not be able to increase their prices this year due to their yearly contract terms. The survey was conducted on 198 business chiefs across the nation during the first quarter, and meanwhile the monthly business confidence survey was conducted on 1,010 companies. The surveys found that exports could do well in the coming months given the fact that the 3-month foreign purchasing order index stood above 50. An index above 50 means operators remain confident of gaining foreign orders in the next 3 months. However, the baht's appreciation remains a risk to export performances.
Laos and Thailand have reached an agreement for an agenda of a meeting to discuss the border demarcation between the two countries, which have been broken off for many years. The agreement was reached at a meeting of senior officials working within the Lao-Thai Border Commission held in Bangkok, Thailand from May the 1st to the 3rd. The Lao delegation was led by the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Pukin Sangsomsak. According to the press release from the ministry, the meeting has agreed on the principles and agenda for the upcoming 9th meeting of the Lao-Thai Border Commission, which will be held in August in Bangkok. The Lao-Thai Border Survey and Demarcation Project, which began in 1997, has installed 204 border markers over 676 kilometers, and it is about 93% complete along the common land boundaries, but just 37% complete along the total boundaries, of which the Mekong River comprises a considerable part. Regarding water boundaries, the two sides are establishing a new map of the Mekong River to be used as essential reference for transferring the border lines from a map jointly created by France and Siam onto a new established map. In this regard, the senior official meeting has agreed that the two sides will adhere to the French-Siamese agreement dated August 25, 1926, and to the 1 to 25,000 scaling map of the boundaries along the Mekong jointly established by France and Siam from 1929 to 1931. The newly formed islands lands in the river will be a part of the country which they stretch furthest into. The two sides have agreed to inform their citizens not to encroach upon each other's islands and beaches.
And we're still in Laos as the delegations from the European Council on Tourism and Trade, or ECTT, has arrived in Vientiane, where they will present Laos with the Council's award for the World Best Tourist Destination for 2013. Prime Minister Thongsin Thamawong welcomes Professor Dr. Anton Karajia, who will present Laos with the EECT's World Best Tourist Destination for 2013 award. The delegation, led by the Council Chairman Professor Dr. Anton Karajia, called on Prime Minister Thongsin Thamawong and Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism Professor Dr. Bunsangkham Wongdara in Vientiane on Monday, where they were warmly welcomed following their arrival. The delegation also visited important tourism sites in Vientiane before departing for Luang Prabang World Heritage Site. The handover ceremony of the award will take place at Don Chan Palace Hotel in Vientiane on Thursday, which will be attended by Deputy Prime Minister Asang Lao Lee and other high-ranking officials. Given the importance of the delegation's visit to award Laos, the government has allocated more than 700 million KEP to prepare facilities and organize for the award handover ceremony. The European Union Council on Tourism and Trade recently presented a report titled On Laos, a touristic and cultural paradise, proposing Laos as the winner of the Council's World Best Tourist Destination for 2013. The aim of the recognitions is to continue promoting a new concept of community-based tourism in Laos, which is friendly to nature, has low ecological impacts, and helps protect and preserve endangered species and natural biodiversity, especially rainforest ecoclimates.
Myanmar Focus Daily will bring you to an interview on whether it is the right timing for the EU to have lifted sanctions in Myanmar.
The European Union previously announced to end decade-long sanctions on Myanmar, except the arms embargo, to reward positive reform steps implemented by President Thein Sein. It was the same day that Human Rights Watch published a report on the violence in Rakhine State that led to 210 dead and displaced thousands of people. The lifting sanctions of the European Union raised the questions whether this is the right time or not amid the ongoing violence in Kachin State and intercommunal violence between Buddhist and Muslim people. Myanmar Focus Daily today sought for answers to the question with an interview with His Excellency David Lipman, the EU Ambassador to Thailand and Myanmar.
First of all, you must understand that the sanctions themselves have been suspended for 12 months. So what we're doing is not a revolutionary change. What the European Union had to do is strike a balance between recognizing the remarkable achievements of the government of Thein Sein and at the same time balancing this against the challenges that remain, including the problems of Rakhine State, the problems of Kachin and other problems, and indeed the remaining political prisoners. And we examined this very carefully, and we felt that the time was right to move on and open a new chapter in our relations with Myanmar.
The main factors that led to the EU lifting sanctions on Myanmar are the remarkable political, economic and social development.
There have been so many things happening in the last 2 years in the positive sense. For example, there's been a huge release of political prisoners. There are still some political prisoners that remain, but now nearly all political prisoners have been released. We are very happy with that. There has been a great opening up, for example, of the media. Freedom of expression is something very, very important, and we've seen big changes. We have seen now big reforms as regards labour, for example, and the virtual end of forced labour. There were many, many things that were of considerable concern to the European Union that have changed, and the government is now embarking on economic reforms as well to liberalize the country, and these are things that are very positive elements in the country.
The European Union stated that despite lifting the sanctions, concerns on the intercommunal religious strife, the ongoing fighting in Kachin, and humanitarian assistance for the Rohingya in Rakhine State still remain. The EU is also examining these issues closely.
And we have decided that we will open a political dialogue with the authorities of Myanmar to discuss these things, and a human rights dialogue. So we are not in any way pretending that there aren't challenges. There are important challenges, and we intend to help to address them with the authorities of Myanmar. And that is why the time is right now to open a new chapter, abandon sanctions, but continue to work through dialogue with the authorities, and indeed with the parliament and with the democratic opposition.
In opening the new chapter with Myanmar, the European Union has expressed that reactions from President Thein Sein and government ministers has been positive. There are currently ongoing discussions between the two parties to solve these issues. Yet many investors are reluctant whether the reforms are irreversible.
And not just my personal opinion, but this is the view of the European Union, the reason why we have lifted our sanctions is because we want to encourage and support the transition. And that is important, and that is what the European Union is doing. We're in the forefront of assisting in many ways. We have increased enormously our development assistance, and we are working very closely with the authorities and indeed with the opposition to help with these reforms. So, of course, in life, nothing can ever be certain, but at the moment, the process is certainly going in the right direction, and we want to support it and encourage it.
In a related story, the United States has also decided to lift some sanctions on Myanmar after the announcement of the European Union. This clearly shows that Myanmar is moving into the right direction toward opening up the country, but it also has to prepare for unexpected problems that come with the development. On the way, Tami Sang for Myanmar Focus Daily.
And coming up next after the break, we have a special report on the Thai skilled workers in preparations towards the AEC.
Following the Sunday, May the 5th elections in Malaysia, the opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim has accused the country's election commission officials, saying that they should resign, saying that the body are both incompetent and corrupt. Well, the Anwar has contested the results of the most closely fought election since Malaysia was engulfed in race riots in 1969, accusing the ruling party of fraud, including the use of immigrants as proxy voters, charges the government denies. The 65-year-old declared victory on social network site Twitter before most votes were counted, but the Electoral Council later announced the Barisan National Coalition the winner.
When the votes started to be counted, we realized we were gaining ground, and by 7 it was almost quite certain. But knowing the system, I then, say, oh yes, we have won, but I caution them not to be too overconfident and keep being very vigilant against possibility of excessive fraud. Fraud is already part of the way the election commission is being conducted, but my worry is that they may go excessive.
Anwar said the opposition had ample evidence to challenge the election result in up to 29 seats, enough to call into question the overall national result. The government rejected the opposition's claim, saying the result, which returned Prime Minister Najib Razak to power with about 57% of the seats in parliament, was in line with opinion polls in recent weeks. Najib's BN, however, won only 47% of popular vote, compared with the opposition's 50%. 8%. At an earlier news conference, Anwar also vowed to lead a fierce movement to reform the country's electoral system and challenge the results of an election, starting with a mass rally of supporters outside the capital today. By Tuesday afternoon, about 20,000 people had confirmed on the Facebook page that they would attend the rally. But the gathering is not backed by the Bersih Clean civil society group that has mobilized tens of thousands of people in protests that have shaken the government in recent years. The rally, which Anwar emphasized was not a protest, is to take place in a stadium with a capacity of about 40,000 in Selangor State near Kuala Lumpur, retained by the opposition in state elections held alongside the national poll.
And now let's have a look on the Philippines, as yesterday the Philippines' image before foreign creditors was boosted again after the Japan credit rating agency JCR announced that it had raised its rating for the country by a notch from the minimum investment grade of BBB- to BBB. The credit watchdog gave a stable outlook on the rating, which indicated that the rating was likely to remain the same over the short term, barring any unexpected developments affecting the country's economic fundamentals. In a statement, JCR said its decision was anchored on the country's encouraging fundamentals, including the government's improving fiscal situation, healthy pace of economic growth, rising foreign exchange reserves, and political stability that was supportive of investment. These fundamentals were believed to have made the country capable of meeting its obligations to creditors. It said that the JCR is of the view that the Philippine economy will, by and large, sustain an annual economic growth at around 6% in the years to come, supported by strong domestic demand. JCR also noted that rising foreign exchange reserves, currently at nearly $84 billion, gave comfort about the country's ability to meet its liabilities. The reserves are boosted by remittances and foreign investment in the business process outsourcing the sector.
And recently, Fitch Ratings and Standard & Poor's has given the Philippines investment grade status as well. And Moody's Investor Service, the Philippines is waiting for them to give their investment grade.
All right, and now let's have a look at our report on the preparations of the Thai chefs towards the AEC and also around the world at the so they train at the 1D Culinary Technological College. Thailand portrayed the national food as labor food or khao gang, but through foreigners' eyes, it is totally the opposite. Thai food outside Thailand is considered as a gastronomy. It's another form of art, yet sophisticated. Thailand is already at its advantages in many ways for producing food, and there is no doubt that the country is the kitchen of the world like it claims. 1D Culinary Technological College has a teaching program to prepare talented chefs and feed the world demand for Thai chefs.
ที่จริงเราก็ส่งเสริมมานานแล้วโครงการนี้มันก็มีอยู่นานแล้วตัวเองก็ได้ไปเผยแพร่ประเทศต่างๆในทำนองนั้นแล้วเราก็เอาข้อมูลต่างๆที่เราได้มาจากการที่เราไปเผยแพร่ก็มาเข้าในหลักสูตรของนักเรียนอีกทีหนึ่งเพื่อว่าให้นักเรียนเหล่านี้ไปสู่ครัวโลกได้ที่อาจจะเราโชคดีตรงที่ว่าเรามีคนที่มาเรียนกับเราเนี่ยจะมี2ประเภทคือ1นักเรียนที่ต้องการจะไปทำงานต่างประเทศข้อที่2ก็จะเป็นเจ้าของกิจการและที่สำคัญที่สุดเนี่ยเราเป็นสถานทดสอบของคือเป็นที่เรียนเป็นโรงเรียนที่เมื่อเรียนแล้วได้ประกาศนียบัตรจากกระทรวงศึกษาธิการและเป็นสถานทดสอบของกระทรวงแรงงานสำหรับว่าคนไทยที่จะไปทำงานต่างประเทศจะต้องผ่านการสอบของกระทรวงแรงงานก่อนเพราะฉะนั้นเมื่อเด็กจบจากเราก็จะได้ใบประกาศนียบัตร2 ใบ
Students will learn about food styling, crafting, nutrition facts, and many more. In terms of linguistic skills, the college provides English, Chinese, and Japanese classes because it has signed agreements with universities that are famous in culinary, such as in China and Japan. Students will be sent to those universities as part of the agreement or the exchange program. After graduating from the college, Students will be able to choose anywhere they want to work around the world.
แต่เราก็ต้องเริ่มปลูกฝังที่อาหารไทยก่อนนั่นแหละนะคะแต่ว่าเราก็ไม่ได้เน้นแต่อาหารไทยแล้วก็จะมีอาหารนานาชาติด้วยโดยเฉพาะอาหารในอาเซียนเพราะเรามีสัญญาร่วมกันกับโรงเรียนสอนทำอาหารที่ฟิลิปปินส์ที่อินโดนีเซียที่มาเลเซียนั่นแปลว่า นักเรียนที่เรียนกับเราก็จะได้กลิ่นอายของอาหารเหล่านั้นในอาเซียนเนี่ยอย่างถ่องแท้และลึกซึ้งจริงๆค่ะคนที่เขามาหาเชฟไทยเนี่ยค่ะเขาก็ต้องการที่จะได้คนนี้ที่มีประสบการณ์แล้วก็ได้ต้องทำอาหารไทยได้คุณอาจจะทำอย่างอื่นเก่งเนี่ยถือว่าเป็น plus ของคุณนะแต่ว่าคุณต้องทำอาหารไทยได้แล้วเชฟอื่นๆของประเทศอื่นๆนะคะก็อาจจะมีข้อดีตรงเรื่องภาษาแต่ในมุมมองตอนนี้เนี่ยเชฟไทยเองก็ไม่น้อยหน้านะคะอย่างในเวลานี้ค่ะเราก็จะมีเชฟที่มาจากประเทศญี่ปุ่นเชฟไทยนะคะที่ทำงานอยู่ญี่ปุ่นมา8ปีทำงานอยู่ประเทศโรมาเนียมา11ปีแล้วทำงานอยู่ที่เยอรมันมา5ปีเขากลับมาเรียนคุณย่าสงสัยไหมคะทำไมเขาต้องมาเรียนเพราะว่า1เขาบอกว่ามาตรฐานสูงขึ้นมาตรฐานของการทำงานเป็นเชฟสูงขึ้นแล้วนี่ยิ่งเป็นช่วงพอเมื่อถึงปี58ขึ้นมาเมื่อไหร่เนี่ยก็อาจจะเป็นโอกาสให้ประเทศในอาเซียนหรือเชฟต่างๆก็อาจจะอยากมาสอบมาตรฐานเหล่านี้ด้วยเพราะฉะนั้นณเวลานี้ก็อยากจะกระตุ้นหรือสนับสนุนให้คนไทยมาสอบมาตรฐานอันนี้ซะก่อนนะคะเพื่อที่เราจะได้ไปทำงานต่างประเทศได้อย่างยืดเชิดหน้าชูตามีแต่เจ้าของร้านที่มาเรียนอยู่ตอนนี้ใช่ค่ะแล้วคนพม่าที่มาเรียนแล้วก็ส่งเชฟเขามาเรียนแล้วก็จะไปเปิดร้านที่นั่นเขาบอกว่าพอเขาเริ่มจะขยายสาขาเนี่ยค่ะเดี๋ยวเขาก็จะมาขอให้เราช่วยหาเชฟไปทำงานให้ด้วย
Strong demands around the world in search for Thai chefs occurred each year, especially in the high-end hotels. But the question also lies on its human resources and how ready are Thai people to spread their quality skills from Thai kitchen to international eyes in order to match to the world standard and be in preparation for the upcoming ASEAN Economic Community, which will be fully implemented in 2015. Nirasha Malisak-Lamir reports.
That wraps up our Good Morning ASEAN edition. Stay tuned with us from Monday to Friday from 7:30 to 8 a.m. I am Nirasha Malisak-Lamir.
And we now do receive. Thank you so much for watching us. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ